When I told my girlfriend her flirting made me uncomfortable, she looked me in the eye and said, "If you're unhappy, the door is right there." I smiled and replied, "Thanks for the reminder." Then I used it. Vanessa called herself a social media consultant. She had a few thousand followers and loved building her online image. For the past year and a half, she'd practically been living in my house. I paid the mortgage. I paid the utilities. I paid for groceries. Even her expensive food deliveries were charged to my card. Whenever I brought up money, she'd say, "Healthy relationships require investment." At a networking event one night, everything finally became clear. Instead of introducing me as her boyfriend, she told people I worked construction, even though I was a project manager. Then, she spent the evening laughing, touching other men, collecting business cards, and acting like she was on a series of first dates. When I finally asked her to stop, she rolled her eyes. "It's just networking," she said. I told her it looked disrespectful. She shrugged and pointed toward the exit. "If you're so unhappy," she said, "the door is right there." I quietly answered, "You're right," and I walked out. The next morning, I accepted a job transfer I'd been turning down for months, a better position, a $180,000 salary, a full relocation package to Phoenix. Over the next 2 weeks, I disconnected everything tied to my name: streaming accounts, internet, utilities. I packed my belongings and prepared to leave. Because her car wasn't registered to my property, she also started getting parking tickets for leaving it on the street without the required permit. When she came home and saw me packing, she laughed. "You're not actually leaving." I looked at her and said, "You don't live with me. You live in my house." There's a difference. Soon I was in Phoenix, starting over. The new job was better. Life was calmer. And I started dating someone who insisted on splitting every dinner bill because she believed healthy relationships should be equal. Meanwhile, I heard Vanessa's life had taken a different turn. She was working at a sports bar, living in a tiny apartment, and struggling financially. The car I'd co-signed for was eventually repossessed. I paid off the remaining balance, legally took ownership, and sold it. A few months later, she contacted me asking to meet for coffee. She looked completely different. No designer clothes, no glamorous social media image, just someone who looked exhausted. She apologized for everything. She admitted she'd taken advantage of my generosity and said losing me had forced her to grow up. I listened quietly. When she finished, I wished her well. Then I stood up, walked out of the coffee shop, and closed that chapter of my life. Sometimes the most powerful answer isn't proving someone wrong. It's quietly walking away when they tell you the door is right there and never coming back.